saying hi. Five somebody rise up. Weekdays, catch us live somebody. Let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you guys are all enjoying your Tuesday. Some people call it Monday part 2 and all that stuff, but hey, it is still Tuesday nonetheless, so I'm hoping you guys are having a wonderful one, keeping it positive, keeping it classy out there. You know what I mean? Man, what a Monday last night. Let me just say about that real quick. What a crazy show, heartbreaking show last night. If you didn't get a chance to check out the show that we had or that I had last night, it was in a new place, random spot. Like I said, I've been working on some things, working on expanding this show, doing more with this show other than just video chats, other than just cam chats or FaceTime chats or whatever you want to call it. Been trying to expand the show, do more with this, right? Bring more to the table for you guys, for all of your viewing pleasure. So I had a conversation with Kiera Cole's parents. So Joseph Cole and Karen Phillips, the mother and father of Kiera Cole's. We sat down, we chopped it up. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff. Now, if you don't know about Kiera Cole, she is a black woman that went missing about 3 years ago. She was a postal worker, and she was pregnant on the day that she went missing. She was many months into her pregnancy when she just up and disappeared. Now, as we said in the show, the boyfriend, the baby daddy, went missing, disappeared after coming out, after this information of her missing came out. He moved to another state with another woman. So, like I said, and her name is Kiera Smith. It's a crazy story. You have got to hear this interview and just hear what they have to say on what happened for the past 3 years, how it feels to not know anything about their children or about their child 3 years later. Like I said, please go check out that episode. That was last night. I'm surprised I'm even here right now. I am exhausted. I'm going to be real. I'm super exhausted, but I had to jump on because you know how it is. I don't feel right not doing the morning show. I didn't do a morning show last night because I was doing a show, or yesterday morning because I was doing a show that morning or that night, and I knew it was going to be a very big, physically demanding experience. So it was a big show. Go check it out. It's out there on my channel. And it's the story, an interview with Kiera Cole's parents. And it's something you don't want to miss, especially if you've been following that story or that case for a long time. So shout out to the parents for taking the time to be on the show and chopping it up with me, little old me, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, we got to get into some stories. We got some things we got to talk about, some things we got to keep moving on. Of course, we got to cover these things that are popping off. But before you do anything, please hit that like button down below. Hit those likes all the way up. Send those likes all the way up. Send this show off on a positive tip. Okay. And of course, for those of y'all who are first-time watchers of this show, welcome to the Pascal Show. Please crush that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. All right. So before we jump into the news and everything, I got my good friend Breon in the house. How are you doing? You are muted, just so you know.
Hey, how's everybody doing? How are you doing, Pascal? I'm good.
I'm good. I'm ready to jump into some stories. You know what I'm saying? But it's great to see your face. Great to see you on here to talk about all the stuff that we got going on today, this morning. We got some stuff to talk about, y'all.
We do.
Stuff that's popping off. And there's something that we're going to be talking about a little bit later in the conversation that I'm wanting to expand into something else more. But I'll explain that a little bit later. Okay? We got to jump into this story here. The autopsy results are going to be revealed today, revolving around what caused Gabby Petito's death. I don't know if you guys know about this, But this is something that's starting to pop off right now as we speak. The people have been talking about it since this morning, since the top of this morning. We got a little video clip that I want to show you guys. 1 second. We got a little video clip I want to show you guys right quick so we can get this bad boy, this show moving. And I missed all y'all this whole weekend. Missed you guys. You know, I didn't do a show or anything. So I just wanted to say I miss seeing every last soul of y'all coming in and being a part of the show today. But yes, let's get into this news clip right quick.
Well, today we are expecting to learn more details surrounding the death of Gabby Petito.
The coroner in Teton County, Wyoming, is holding a news conference to release Petito's autopsy report. 8 on your side's Marco Villarreal joining us live this morning from the Gabby Petito Memorial. This is outside of Northport City Hall. Good morning, Marco.
Hi, good morning. You know, this is a memorial that's not going to be out here for much longer. It's going to be taken down later today, but this has been a family, friends, and people that don't even know Gabby have come and dropped off mementos, pictures, flowers, anything that can be sent to the family. The city is going to be taking this down today, saying that the elements have really started to wear down some of the objects that have been left out here. Now, regarding everything else that's going on with this case, it's been just 3 weeks since Gabby's body was found near a campground in Grand Teton National Park. We know little details of her discovery other than that the area of the park where her body was found and that her death was ruled a homicide. The Teton County Coroner's Office in Wyoming will be holding a news conference later today on the ruling of the autopsy results. Meanwhile, the search for her fiance, Brian Laundrie, continues 1 month since the family says they last saw him. While he remains a person of interest in Gabby Petito's homicide case, he is wanted by the FBI for the use of unauthorized access devices, essentially using Gabby's credit cards following her death. Now, the news conference is set to happen 2:30 this afternoon via Zoom. We're going to have details for you when that happens. And out here, as the memorial is taken down today, everything collected will be going to Gabby Petito's family. And we understand that there is plans in the works right now to have something more permanent set up outside here of City Hall.
Wow.
For now, reporting live in Northport, Marco Villarreal, 8 on your side.
You know, let me roll that back just a tiny bit because I want to get that time one more time for everybody to hear and make sure I'm got this correct as well.
2:30 this afternoon
2:30
via Zoom. We're going to have details for you when that happens. And out here, as the memorial is taken down today.
So 2:30, of course, they're Eastern Standard Time. So 1:30 Central Standard Time, they're allegedly going to be coming out with the autopsy revolving around what happened to Gabby Petito. So we are going to find out. And guess what? I'm going to be right there. If it's live, we're going to be watching it live. We're going to do it live. We're going to do it live, y'all. I will be watching it live right here on the Pascal Show because I want to hear for myself. I mean, obviously, we've been covering this show, covering this story for weeks now. Weeks, okay? Weeks. And we haven't known anything. We don't know anything. No one said anything about if she's okay, if she's not okay, if she's how she was taken, if this was an accident, if this was an actual homicide. They have ruled it a homicide, but no one has ever said, oh, it was blunt force trauma, it was a gunshot, it was a stab wound, it was a strangle. They haven't said anything, right? Now, we already know some details revolving around how they found her body, how they identified the body. But of course, there's a lot of things, as we have said before, there's a lot of things to put in consideration, like nature, animals, and all that could seriously ravage a body like this, right? Especially when it's a discarded body just on the side of a trail, right? The harsh weather and all that. So, like I said, this is something that we will be watching because I want to close that chapter. Obviously, for 3 weeks, we have been sitting here just at the edge of our seats, wondering what the hell happened to Gabby Petito. Now, one thing that doesn't make any sense is why they've withheld this kind of information for so long. A lot of people might sit here and say, hey, no, you know what? They were doing everything they can. They were doing their research. They were doing their due diligence to make sure it really is a homicide. But if the first thing they see is homicide on a body, what else do they need to hold back on, right? If it's a gunshot wound, if it's a stab wound, if it's blunt force trauma or anything of that sort, strangulation, you'd be able to see it face value. So, like I said, this whole situation is going to be very exciting to me because we're finally going to be closing and getting answers to that piece of mystery. Because hopefully, if they have those answers for us, that'll lead us down the road to figuring out what's going on. Maybe there's links between Gabby Petito and Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner. Maybe there is a connection. Maybe there isn't. So hopefully, by getting the coroner to come out and tell everyone what the autopsy results are, hopefully by doing that, it'll close up and answer a lot of unanswered questions that I think we've all been sitting here waiting for the past almost month. You know, Breon, what do you think?
No, I think that it will be a way for, I'm trying to think how I want to say this, a way for us to move a little bit more. I feel like the Gabby Petito situation with the search for Brian and really not knowing her cause of death, I think has really been hard for individuals. I feel like we typically get autopsies a lot faster, and which has kind of frustrated the situation. So I think it'll be good to hear something because it means we're moving a step forward in understanding the conditions of her death, which may offer some insight into the mind of perhaps a murderer, because sometimes knowing the cause of death can lead you to understanding maybe some of the motives behind what led to it. So I think it'll be good for us all to hear.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like I said, just getting those answers, getting all those answers that we've been sitting here waiting for. Because of course, like I said, we just don't know. We really don't know anything until we actually hear it from hear the autopsy, hear the autopsy report. And like I said, as soon as they say something, there's a lot of things there's a lot of roads we can go down within this thing. And if they go down a certain road and they say, oh, she was shot with such and such, then you can instantly go, wait a second, you would instantly go, there's got to be a connection. You see what I'm saying? Instantly you're going, wait, there's a connection here. Something's up, right? With maybe these other murders that have happened, these other unsolved murders that have happened within the same time frame, right? But if it's blunt force trauma, then that completely changes the narrative that everybody is kind of circling around, right? So, like I said, this is going to be very interesting when the coroner actually comes out and says some things. Now, Brian Entin, of course, I've been watching a lot of his stuff. I mean, I feel like everybody has been watching Brian Entin's stuff on Twits. Okay, on the Twits. But I wanted to show his video because he recently, man, he has just tapped into this. Well, obviously he's tapped into it. He media, okay, he mainstream that media. He part of the system. But I wanted to show a piece of him talking about this. He said, I got former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer on the phone quickly to get her take on the Teton County coroner's press conference scheduled for tomorrow. So this is a conversation that he had with a former FBI agent. So let's take a listen.
So Jennifer, what do you think of this announcement by the coroner in Wyoming that there's going to be some kind of press conference tomorrow at 2:30?
Well, I think the coroner is going to release the official results. However, I would be very, very surprised if he releases the exact cause of death, the manner of death, beyond a homicide.
So you don't think it'll be detailed?
I don't think so. And that is based on the fact that it is an ongoing investigation, and those details are so crucial for the investigation. Say that specific details are released, as an example, that she was strangled. And later, there are witnesses that say they thought they observed something, perhaps a strangulation. Did that come from this coroner's report and the specifics of that, or was it something they really saw? So it's very important that those types of details are concealed in this type of case.
So they really don't want the killer to know. They don't want anyone besides the killer to know the details. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's what I mean. Even in the case of a situation where a killer will actually confess, those details are very important for corroborating their confession. So those are typically not released, and I would be surprised if any real new details come out in that press conference tomorrow.
One thing people keep messaging me on Twitter about, is there any chance tomorrow they could, increase the charges against Brian Laundrie in addition to giving more information about the autopsy? Do you think that's a possibility?
Good question.
I really don't. A coroner is responsible for the information contained in that autopsy and for conducting the autopsy. However, the overall investigation, anything to do with charging Brian Laundrie, that would be released by the FBI.
And you were telling me on the phone earlier, Jennifer, we're all so anxious for any new information, and we kind of want closure, and we want Brian Laundrie to be found. But you were reminding me that we're just a month in. I mean, from your perspective, this doesn't happen quickly all the time, right?
Right. This investigation is truly at its infancy. It's being sped along very quickly due to the nature of the investigation, due to the media coverage, due to the fact that he is at large, and all of these amazing and very interesting details that have happened in this case that are unique. For those reasons, the whole entire case is at the pinnacle of the news right now, and I think will continue to be. And the FBI, however, is just starting their investigation. They're just getting returns on their subpoenas. They are just looking over the analysis of DNA evidence. The autopsy report has been completed now, and they're going to get all those details. So all of that is really just the beginning of a case. I did want to mention, too, Brian, the FBI is working hand in hand with the United States Attorney's Office, and actually it would probably be both of them combined and jointly that would release any information regarding an indictment against the person who committed this homicide.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer.
This whole thing, I mean, still, no matter what, I'm going to let it run a little bit, but still, no matter what, when it comes to this whole thing, it does still feel slow as hell. Am I the only one who feels this way? Slow as hell, y'all. Why was it so, why has it, like, I get it that they have to try to find every little, if they can find any shed of evidence that they can pin on anyone, they're going to do everything in their power to make it happen. But I still find it very strange that they did not sit there and say that they did not put out that information, just the bullets, at least. You see what I'm saying? Like the main fact, okay, it's a gun or it's strangulation, blunt force trauma, stabs, whatever it could be. No details came out still until today. Possibly. They say that they're going to be coming out and talking about it at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see if they actually stay with what they said they're going to do. But it's still strange to me that this has been sitting for this long. And they haven't even, I feel like, still I don't get how they haven't even put anything other than credit card fraud on this man that's out on the lam right now. That is, I'm sure he's holed up somewhere. He's holed up somewhere. Somebody got him somewhere, y'all. But they're not even catching he ain't even catching a case on that. To me, it just seems so strange. So strange. Like I said, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this whole thing. I feel like every other autopsies have come out faster, quicker. We have found out more information about this, about other people's deaths. Lickety split, right? But this one, we haven't heard anything except, oh, it's a homicide. It's been ruled a homicide. Okay, and this makes you wonder what's going on. This makes you wonder. It's very strange. Breon.
I'm not gonna say it's strange that we haven't received results, because if we think about like when there's death of like major celebrities, even with the death of George Floyd, they wanted to wait for the toxicology report to come back. So it makes me wonder if they had to, do a toxicology report and was waiting for those results to come back before they had a complete picture. May come back, there's nothing in it, but at least they were waiting for that. I don't particularly know this coroner's office, what about their resources? I mean, we know with the Jelani Day autopsy, where they talked about the resources for doing some type of testing was taking a while. They were backlogged, but because of the state of his body, they had to push it forward. So I don't really know in this situation what the case was.
But with just to throw the little wrench in what you said, and beautifully said, by the way, Breon, thank you so much for saying what you said, because you do have a point there. But just to throw a wrench in that beautifully said piece that you said, do you realize how quickly Jelani Day's information and his how quick his autopsy came back? Mm-hmm. How quickly his information on what happened to him and all that stuff came back? Do you know, and somebody just asked this, and I'm going to say this really quick, so I'm glad that you mentioned Jelani Day. Maylin Romero said, Pascal, have you showed the Jelani Day case yet? Yes, we have talked about it, but I have not talked about the autopsy or the results of actually finding his body. I have talked about how he was missing, but I never talked about his autopsy, which I was hoping to do on a separate show, on a separate piece. But let me just say something. The information they have come out with revolving around Jelani Day and how they found him, body looked like, the details. I can literally, I feel like his body is right in front of me. The way that they have come out with so much details. When it comes to Gabby Petito, it has just been ruled a homicide, and that is it. It has been 3 weeks now with Jelani Day. They talk about crazy stuff. The autopsy reports that have come out have been insane. Man did not have organs. His lower jaw was sawed off. I mean, the details that they say, sawed off, by the way. I'm sorry that we're talking about Jelani Day going off the beaten path, but we're going to talk about this. All right. They had those results within seconds. Gabby Petito, or we're going to sit and wait on it for three weeks. Well, strange.
So the question I have, and maybe this is what I wasn't clear on with that particular autopsy, is they found him and essentially it was an unclaimed body. But from my understanding is that because of the state of the body and how it decomposes when it comes out of water, they had to act very quickly to do things, which rushed the autopsy. So my question is, was some of this stuff completed? Was some of the toxicology report so that once his body was claimed by the family, identified and said, yes, this is Jelani, this is our son, this is our family member, that they already had reports coming back. So therefore, they were able to release it much more quickly. And we also know that the family had their own autopsy done, and was it also pressure from them saying, well, we're going to release our results, and maybe they pushed quickly to get theirs out to beat the family? I don't necessarily know if that's the case. And I'm not sure 100% on the timeline, but I know that there was a extended period of time before his body was identified, or at least claimed by the family, from when they found him. And we do know that the state of his body required them to push up and do a quicker autopsy so that it didn't decompose too rapidly. So this is why I'm wondering, is this why his information seems like it came out a lot quicker than necessarily with Gabby Petito's? And plus, they're two different states. So
True.
once again,
Yeah.
I don't really understand the resources or what happened, or if this coroner is being more methodical and really trying to help really detail an explanation of Gabby Petito's death, because it also sounds like perhaps the elements were unkind to her body as well, fast decomposition. And so therefore, maybe it took a little bit more work. I don't really know. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out today, hopefully at that 2:30 time.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too. And you got a point as far as like the different states, and there's different departments, and different states have different procedures, different approaches to things. But I just found it very interesting that, like I said, we were very quick to get the information and the autopsy results over Jelani Day, and they have still not ruled it a homicide. They are ruling that the S word rhymes with homicide. Not really, but you see what I'm saying. Taking of one's life, let's just say that. They're trying to rule it as such, yet his lower jaw was sawed off. Internal organs, some of his internal organs were missing, like I said, and they're ruling this not a homicide. Strange. And it took them seconds to put out those results, to put out that information. All right. Not throwing shade, but there's some questions that I have with that coroner, especially with that autopsy report. But with Gabby, yes, you're right. 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be on that time, hopefully watching live the coroner's results. All right, so that we all know what the heck is going on. Because like I said, we were all watching. All of us, almost 1,000 of us watching, 1,000 souls watching right now. We all are curious. Okay, we all want to know what's going on. We all want to close at least that chapter to this crazy saga, to this soap opera of a book that we're reading right now, that we're watching live every single day. All right, trust and believe. We want to find out what the heck is going on, and we want to find out now so that we can move on, or at least we can focus our attention on where the hell Brian Laundrie at, yo. Where he at, though? Where he at? Now, here's the other thing before we move on. All right. Jamarcus, I forgot to say this, so I wanted to say this really quick. Jamarcus, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. It's disappeared, so I can't pull it up on here and show it to the world. But he gave us a $10 super chat, so I wanted to say, Jamarcus, Anton, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He says, I have a really great theory on what might have happened and why I think what I think. I just don't know how to tell you my theory. You don't have to read this, just well. Thank you so much for the support. I will be opening up the phone lines today after we hear the coroner's results, so that we can all chop it up and talk about this. So I will be on today at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that is 2:30 Eastern Standard Time this afternoon. I'll probably be eating my lunch and watching this live, but I will be opening up the phone lines at that time, and we're going to chop it up for show. Okay. So I see about over 1,000 souls watching the show on all platforms right now. Please be sure to hit that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. And of course, don't forget to crush that subscribe button. If this is your first time checking out this show, please. I do my morning show, 9 a.m. Central Standard, 9-ish. Okay. Not always on time. Okay. But 9-ish a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. I'm going to be honest, right, Brian? I'm going to be honest, okay? These mornings, sometimes they're tough, especially when you have a late night doing a show the night before. But I'm trying my best to stay on time-ish, okay? So hit that subscribe button. Be a part of the family. Don't forget, we have that join button down below. So please crush that join button and help support this show. That would be really great. Hit that like button. Send it past 300 likes. I see 1,000 of y'all in here. Hit that like button. Send it past 300 likes. That would really mean a lot. Now, here's one other thing I want to talk about really quick before we move on to the next subject, okay? Okay. There's been a lot of guys talking about a whole bunch of the things that are covering. A lot of commentators have been covering the Brian Laundrie case. And I'm not knocking any person who's doing it because obviously, surprise, I've been talking about it too, okay? But one thing that is really frustrating is lately there has been a thing where I guess there was a body that was found in the Appalachian Trails. And everybody was quick to think, is it Brian? Well, let me say this, guys. It wasn't. I just want to make that abundantly clear so that anybody who's sitting here watching right now who doesn't know anything about this, I think it was yesterday, they were sitting there going, oh, yeah, hey, there's been they found a body in the Appalachian Trail. Everyone was quick to think that it was Brian Laundrie. Well, they said there is nothing that is matching any details of this person's body that would have any connection to the identity of Brian Laundrie. So I just want to make sure that is abundantly clear. All right. Because I know that there's a lot of people out here that are quick to hop on and just kind of spit out anything for the sake of just spitting out anything. So just to give you guys a heads up. Yeah, he's still out there. Okay. Trust me. If it was him, I would have been scrambling, turning the thing. They found him. You know what I mean? He did. You know what I mean? But it's not like that. Okay. Just so that you guys know. But yes, please don't forget to hit that like button. Those likes past 300 likes. That would really mean a lot. And of course, do not forget to crush that subscribe button. It'd be really great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. We got to move into the next story. And like I said, before we move on, 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be live to watch the coroner results. If they are doing it live, if they're doing a press conference live, we will be watching it. We will be streaming it live, just so you guys know, okay? Because we are going to close that chapter, okay? So Brian has some stuff. We got to talk about this Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle. We got to talk about this. Oh boy, this is gonna be a tough one. This is gonna be a tough one. Brian, what's up?
So so Dave Chappelle is receiving backlash for his recent Netflix show. He says it's his final of his Netflix series called The Closer for what is being called transphobic remarks from his show. Individuals are asking for Netflix to cancel his special because of the content of The Closer. And Dave Chappelle is essentially kind of reveling in the fact that people want to cancel him for what he's done. That's kind of it in a nutshell. Netflix has did say the co-CEO Ted Sarandis has said that the show will not be canceled as of presently, in that he remarked, several of you have asked where we draw the line on hate. We don't allow titles on Netflix that are designated to incite hate or violence, and we don't believe The Closer crosses that line. I recognize, however, that distinguishing between commentary and harm is hard, especially with stand-up comedy, which exists to push boundaries. Some people find the art of stand-up to be mean-spirited, but our members enjoy it, and it's an important part of the content offering.
Mm-hmm. This one's a very interesting one to me. I'm quite vexed. And you might ask why.
Why?
There you go. Good job. Good job. Sharp as a tack. The reason why I'm quite vexed is because I watched the special. Yes, there was some parts where I was like, "Oh, bruh, come on!" But at the same time, it's comedy. Now, I was sitting back and I'm watching this thing and I'm going, "Okay, this is his platform. This is his craft. He's allowed to speak." They gave him a microphone. They gave him $50 million to do 5 specials. He talked about this. If this was a huge problem, then why give him a mic and pay off the rest of that 50 grand? You feel me? Why? You know what I mean? And I'm not sitting here saying, I'm not justifying this. But when I watched the episode, when I watched the final one, I thought what he said was beautiful at the end in his Dave Chappelle way. And it was funny. It was heartfelt, well thought out, well spoken. And I feel like it showed to me that he was saying, despite our differences, but despite the difference between me and this trans woman, Daphne, right? We still were good friends. We still had a bond that transcended gender, race, sexual preference, whatever. To me, I didn't see anything bad with it. I thought it was very well done in his own way. But then at the same time, I feel like he was bringing in he was sparking up some real conversation to how the trans community is and the Black community is. I thought he was bringing in some interesting disparities, and that's the whole point, right? I think that's one of his gifts. He's able to bring up these conversations and make you think. You're laughing, or you might go, but then you're thinking, though. I mean, even though you like, if you look at the Chappelle show, for example, was just a tip of the iceberg of what he ended up becoming, right? But there was so much social commentary in those skits. No one really knows it. Everybody just looks at those things at face value. But if you really look deep in it, you're like, whoa, he was saying something else here. It's hilarious, but he was saying something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. To me, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm all for the trans community. I'm all for trans rights all day long, all the live long day. But this is what he does. He's a comedian. He's gonna make jokes, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Brianna, like I said, I'm vexed because here it is. The other side I'm gonna say is this. Because if you flip the words, if you change the words and you put racist rhetoric in those words and say this was a white guy, right? A white comedian saying racist things about the Black community, take out trans from the phrase trans community and just put in Black community, and he's just doing this the entire time. Nothing but just Black jokes. Wouldn't we be outraged? Wouldn't the Black community be up in arms right now? Would we be laughing with him, even if he was the GOAT? That's why I'm saying I'm vexed. Brianna, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think you bring up a good point, and I want to say I watched The Closer 3 times, and for me, because it caused me to think very deeply about issues, I thought it was brilliant. Anything that can get me to really, really, really challenge myself and my perspectives, I think is really important piece of art. But I agree with you in the sense where I was thinking, well, had that been like, for example, I used to really like Dane Cook, and I went to a show and he
I'm
said,
so sorry.
yeah, yeah, back in the day, and he had said a joke, and I was like, yeah, no. And I think it's because the audience mainly looked like him, and I think that he thought that he could say that joke, and it actually didn't go over well with the crowd. Um, and because my mom and I were two of the few black people in the audience, I mean, the tickets were free, so that's one of the reasons why I went. Um, they all was like looking at us, and we were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
think we need to leave."
You're like, it
So,
was free. It
right.
was free. You know what I mean?
I think like if someone like Kev on stage had said that joke,
Yeah.
I would have laughed. And I started thinking a lot about that after watching the closer for the second time. Is that, you know, some of the stuff I find funny, some of it I'm like, oh, this is kind of hard. Like, why would he say it like that? But then I said to myself, well, he's saying things that I didn't like the one joke that had come out of Dane Cook's mouth, but had that been a trans comedian, had that been Daphne up there, do we say that it's okay then when it's coming from the person? And so that really challenged me to really think about how I like comedians, and I feel like I give far more grace to comedians, and I was willing now to give more grace to Dane Cook in that particular situation because when I thought about it in hindsight, I'm like, you know, this is comedic commentary on life. Like they're trying to get us to think, they're trying to get us to see things in a different perspective, not necessarily the way Dave Chappelle sees life, but how art imitates life, right? And how that's a reflection. And I think it's important to realize that comedy is an art form, and the art is supposed to speak to us in some kind of way. And so when I thought about what he did in that way, I really appreciated the show more. It wasn't actually one of his funnier ones. It really wasn't. I thought it had a lot more serious tone that he would try to break up with like a joke, which for
Right.
me was a lot more jarring, because you're just getting into it and then he cracks a joke and you're like, okay, I came out of it. So I think that's why it challenged me to think a little bit more in this particular instance.
Mhm.
But he was taking jabs all over the place. And I feel like it's interesting that people are so focused on the what he said about the LGBTQ and the trans community, but he said some things about this virus that had me a little cringy too, about what was beating him up, or how his cells were beating something up on the inside of him. So I'm saying that
Oh, yeah.
when we think about his jokes, I mean, it's kind of like what he said, what Daphne said, he punches lines. And I think that for me, I liked how he said it because it brought perspective back to comedians for me.
I think that it was okay. That last part was probably the best part of the entire stand-up.
Yeah.
Because it was funny, or there was moments of funny. There was lightness, there was darkness, there was heart, there was emotion. You could, to me, you could hear it in his voice. It was like he really lost a friend. He really lost somebody that he respected, highly, highly respected. And this person happened to be a part of the transgender community. What I found very interesting is I saw a tweet. Okay. I saw a tweet where somebody basically broke down the entire stand up, but it was callous as hell, as if he was saying, oh, he said transphobic jokes. Then he talked about a trans woman that was yelling at him in the audience. And then that trans woman, because of the ridicule, I guess, takes their own life. Great. There's something like, oh, the great show, Dave Chappelle. And they go, no, you clearly did not listen and watch the entire thing. Now, I'll say this. I didn't know anything about the I didn't see anything about the special until I saw on the Shade Room. I think they played a video where it was just a clip from the show, from the stand-up, and he basically was saying, comparing like, a black guy can shoot another black guy, no one cares, but as soon as the baby says something about the LGBTQ plus community, the whole world goes insane. And he's like, do you see where I'm going here? And I see this and I'm going, oh, this is going to be bad. But that's what everybody's relying on. Everybody's just seeing little clips and little pieces. They're not watching the entire thing. Mm-hmm. So then I said, you know what? Before I automatically go, oh, here we go. Oh, no, Dave Chappelle canceling himself. I said, you know what? Nah, man. Nah, we good. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch this. I'm going to check this out because I'm a huge Dave Chappelle fan. So I might be a little biased. But at the same time, I'm going to be real. Saw a bunch of his other specials. Didn't think they're that very funny either. His recent specials. I feel like he was just having he's a really great monologuist. That's what I felt like it was. He was just having scripted open thought in a room full of people, smoking a cigarette, sitting on a chair, and just chopping it up and talking about how messed up this world can be and throwing a little zingers here and there. So I sat there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this. I watched the entire thing, y'all. I watched the entire thing. And at the end, I felt choked up. I was emotional when he talked about his friend Daphne losing the friend and all that. Like I said, I don't want to put too many spoilers in here. It's a one-man show, spoiler alert. But at the same time, sat there and watched it. I'm like, man, this is some heartfelt stuff. I see what's going on, right? I see what he's trying to say. I see what he's trying to work through. And he said, this is the last time I'm talking about this, y'all. After this, I'm putting this on the shelf and I'm walking away. I'm done. But I have to say what I need to say. And the way he said it was really, I thought it was heartfelt. I don't think he was trying to destroy. What you said a second ago, I do agree. There were moments where he was punching down. He even talked about that. He's going, what is punching down? What does that mean? You know what I mean? But he was still definitely punching down in certain moments, right? But I feel like he could have gone a lot more. He could have put the pedal to the metal with this thing and just rode this thing till the wheels fell off. But he didn't go there. He turned it around and said, hey, I got a story to tell you guys. Mm-hmm. Even in light of being in trouble. In light of being in trouble with the other specials. Because you got to realize, remember his last special or his first special when it first came out? Shoot, that was years ago. That was 3 years ago. I think that was 3 years ago. Bruh. His final special, he did five stand-up shows in 3 years. So, of course, people are going to sit there and, be on his ass and ridicule him for whatever. And that's fine. All right? That's totally fine. To each their own. And I can understand why. But the way he closed it out made sense to me. It almost seemed like it erased everything. It erased all the BS. And it was like, okay, bang. There we go. I see what he's saying. But like I said before, if this was a white guy saying stuff about black people or an Asian guy saying stuff about the black community or a white guy talking about Asians and just doing nothing but Asian jokes, would this person get the pass? Would we be laughing with them? Or would we, you know what I'm saying? Or would we be protesting and trying to take the show down off of Netflix? The other thing I'll say this is as well. Netflix ain't going to shut down nothing. Why? because this is only giving it more publicity. It's getting more spins. People are watching the show. They're not going to take it down. They already secured $50 million to this man. They need to squeeze every penny out of this man's ass. So they're like, hey, bad publicity is better than no publicity. Let's go. That's what I think on this. Real talk.
So I was gonna say, without, I know you don't want to give away spoilers, but he touched on a comment where he was talking about. I apologize. There's some noise outside. Talked about having a human experience that at one point Daphne had said, I don't need you to understand, I just need you to know that I'm having a human experience. And for me, I feel like that really summed up the closer show, that Dave Chappelle is off having a human experience, and the human experience is complicated, it's muddied, it's complex, but we try to simplify it down to these small issues. I'm right wing, I'm left wing, I'm only LGBTQ, or I'm only Black issues. But guess what? Life is complex. I can support the trans community, but still have some concerns, for example, with women's sports, having been an athlete and wanting to ask some questions. I can be a Black person and still find value in education that I got, unfortunately, from a member of the Aryan Nation who taught a history class. I think that's the thing, is that we are trying to live a life so small and so simple that sometimes we get lost in the complexity of life, and that it's complicated, and that we're always in a gray zone. We're not always going to be in a black and white zone. And that's really the problem. And I think that's what I like about comedy and love about comedy, is that it pushes us back into that gray zone. And when we live in that gray zone, it challenges us to transcend ourselves. It challenges us to be better human beings. And it challenges us to start to be comfortable with the unknown, start to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, and I think that that's what I really appreciated about this Dave Chappelle episode, is that he is a man having a human experience, but also during a time where we're extremely polarized. The last 4 to 5 years have been extremely polarizing for us as a nation, which has tried to simplify issues down, which have really only been a handful of issues. Which, you think about his Netflix specials, only a handful of issues for that period of time, to me makes sense, because that's all we've been focused on, are all those issues, right? The political issues, trans rights issues, this pandemic that's happening. This is all a part of what he talked about, which has really been repetitive for all of us. And so I feel like in order for us to break out of that monotony, we have to embrace that gray zone and realize we are having a human experience.
You ain't wrong with what he said there, but okay, now you got me playing the other side of the fence really quick, playing devil's advocate.
No, fair enough.
Right? So let me play devil's advocate really quick. I'm playing devil's advocate real quick, guys, just so y'all know. So let me ask this, and this is what I'm asked to the fam, because I see the chat, and thank you so much for chatting, being a part of the conversation. I know some of y'all were only here for the Gabby Petito updates, but I appreciate you. I appreciate those of you. God, I can't talk today. For that have stuck around to check this thing out. I do appreciate you guys for being a part of this conversation. So down below, crush that bad boy. Send that past 400 likes. That would really mean the world to me. And don't forget to crush that subscribe button, y'all. We have many conversations on this show. A lot like this one. All right. A lot of uncomfortable conversations we do have on this show. Good morning and welcome to some uncomfortable conversations. But let me play devil's advocate. The reason why I'm going to play devil's advocate is this, and this is the thing that I want to pose. Okay. When it comes to what Breon just said, all right, absolutely, I get it. But isn't there a different way you can get that point across to spark those spark off those I don't know, spark up the fire in everybody's brains to start thinking about certain things and all that, instead of it being, oh, you're back, good. Instead of it being, okay, let me do this wrapped up in a whole bunch of jokes that maybe people are not going to see the forest through the trees. That's literally what I said after I saw the show. I was like, I think people aren't going to see the forest through the trees. That's what it is. They're focused on the jokes and not listening to the message, right? Message, right? So when it comes to that, why not just wrap it up in a different type of bow? He didn't do the Trojan horse so much. That Trojan horse approach that I've been talking about forever, right? He didn't wrap up vegetables. He didn't stuff vegetables inside of candy. Does that make sense? It was almost like a very hard pill to swallow, I think, for a lot of people. Mind you, playing devil's advocate right now. So why not go with a different approach instead of it being what it was?
No, I think that that's a really good point, and I'm not knocking that. And you know me, I actually thrive better in the environment that you're talking about, in a nurturing environment, in an environment where we can have a shared experience and talk about uncomfortable and complex topics, but in a way that is guided, and that is helpful and not harmful. So I 100% get what you're saying. And I also understand, though, that unfortunately, oftentimes our brains are hardwired for drama, right? That not everyone thinks like me. I don't like toxicity, right? I don't like it, but I have challenged myself. My pendulum has shifted enough to where I can be in those environments, like a comedy show, which throws stuff at you, and I can sit and I can ground myself, and then I can think through what's happening. But not everyone has that opportunity. So I 100% get what you're saying. But once again, not everybody is there either, right? I think that you and I can be there, and I think we've demonstrated that. But some people wallow in drama. So now the question is, how can we help then, now that people are there in their challenge? How do you make the conversation constructive? And I think that that's more important right now. So now people are feeling some kind of way. So now people are wanting to cancel, and some people are like, no, I 100% support. Okay, so now how do we bring those two together and talk about the complexity within both of those sides of the story?
Now, I'll say this. And like I said, I was playing devil's advocate, but I'm going to keep rolling with this side. He ain't our professor. He ain't our teacher. He ain't Socrates up in this piece, right? He is a comedian, for crying out loud. He is not here to try to teach everybody ways of the world and the way of the samurai. He is here to make us laugh. And obviously, he's a very pensive individual, clearly. So he wants us to think, but he's doing it in his own way, right? So it's not his responsibility to have us walk away with something like, I feel moved. I feel moved. I don't think that he's, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's not his. Does that make sense?
But art
imitates
imitates
it's not like
life.
he's a professor up in this piece. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Please continue.
That's true. That's true. He's not a professor.
Like, you're here to hear lewd jokes from me. You already know what I came from. You know, shoot, the Clayton Bigsby's in the N-word family, and you see what I'm saying? Right. Y'all got some crack? I mean, stuff like that. Red balls. He got all that stuff. And he's doing. Are we expecting him to be like, yo, here's the way of the world, Kimosabe? Like, I really don't think so.
But I think he gets there, but in his own way. Every art form is different, right? Mm-hmm. Every creative expression is different. You know, I like to draw. I like to write poetry. Some poetry is really funny. Some poetry is really serious. Some of it is depressive. Some of it is exuberant, right? And I think that he might not be saying, I'm a professor of life, but why is what comedians say funny? It's funny because we see it imitate life. We're like, oh my gosh, that was either mundane or I didn't even think about it like that. But yes, I see that. And it's funny because we know some things to be socially a norm, right? I'm not going to say true, right? But for
Relatable.
socially norm, we know it exists. And so I think that it's some kind of commentary. I think that it's some way of um, expressing what we see in life. And I think it brings a release for people, right? And just because it makes us laugh doesn't mean that it can't also make us think. It can't be thought provoking. Because guess what? If you're laughing at it, it obviously hits you in a way where you've made a connection to it in some kind of way because you see it as a truth for yourself, or you see it as in some way valid commentary of something that's happening in the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, real quick, I gotta do this. Latif, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He says, "Dope show today, Pascal. Big ups to the panel. Big ups to the panel in the chat, chat and awesome points across the spectrum today. Thank you, Latif, for the $10 super chat. Thank you. Every little bit helps this channel, so thank you so much for your contribution to the show. But yes, you know, I what you're saying ain't wrong when it comes to excuse me, when it comes to the Dave Chappelle, right? But then it goes down to, I mean, obviously he's loving every minute of it. He doesn't care. But you also got to remember, this man walked away from $50 million. All right. He walked away from a show. Do you think he cares right now if people are losing, like getting upset with him about this? Clearly he doesn't, but are you surprised? I'm not, because at the end of the day, the ink already dried on that contract. I'm sure the last payment of his $50 million has already been transferred or wired to his offshore account somewhere in Sweden up in this piece. Like he living the life like it's golden on a farm in Ohio, for crying out loud. He got it. He is having his cake and he is eating it too. Right? So for me, I'm like, you know, he won't care. This is only bringing more eyeballs to his show. This is only bringing more people to look into his stuff, more people to be down for him, or more people to not be down for him. He said he was going there like the entire time in that stand-up. You know, Breon, you watched it 3 damn times. You know what I'm saying? He said, I'm going there, guys. I am going there. And that's okay. All right. Hey, that is his platform. And here's the other thing. If you want to watch, you can. If you don't want to watch, hey, you can do that too. And you know, not trying to throw anti-shade to anybody. Okay. But it's okay if you feel some type of way. And I think that was the whole purpose. The whole purpose was not only for you to maybe chuckle, maybe enrage you, but to get a visceral reaction from you. I think that's what it was. Because like I said, when was the last time you saw a Dave Chappelle stand-up that was just flat out funny from beginning to end? I'll tell you the last one I saw. It was called Killing Them Softly. Okay? That's the last time I saw him do something where he was just nailing every single joke. Everything was hilarious. I mean, the baby and the selling drugs on the street. Come on now. Walking out the birth. Come on now. That stuff was hilarious. He doesn't do that anymore. Oh, actually, he doesn't even do that hyped up sound in his voice either. You see what I'm saying? Talking about this. He doesn't do that no more. Notice that? I think it's from the cigarettes. But I'm being real. That boy be smoking them cigarettes. But at the same time, he doesn't have that same amped up vibe anymore. He's very George Carlin-ish now. It's more of a, like I said, a monologuist.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like the monologuist attitude. So I have been a fan of Dave Chappelle since I saw him on Star Search when I was like 8 or 9. Mm-hmm. And anything after that, because my whole family thought he was hilarious, I was allowed to anything he would pop up on that you could find. We were allowed to watch and see, even movies. And so um, I I like seeing where he was when what he was 19, I think, when he went on Star Search, and then to where he's come today. I think that people evolve, and I think what's one really interesting thing, when we think about comedians. I think now a lot more comedians are living. Healthier lives, and they're seeking to be authentic in themselves. But a lot of artists and even comedians kind of lived tragic lives, or lives that were full of sadness or despair. Like I think about Richard Pryor, whom my dad was a huge fan of, that I watched growing up as well. And I like seeing where Dave Chappelle is going, in the sense that he does what helps him keep his sanity. When he walked away from the Chappelle show, he made a good point, is that when I am basically almost, he was being asked to continue to shuck and jive and make fun of what it is to be a black man, that he saw a misalignment alignment with that, right? And he walked away. He said, I have to live authentically, because you'll think it's funny when I am portraying us in a bad light, what you think is hysterical. But what happens when you don't have that, right? What happens when I'm not going to be that man? And I think that that's important. And I feel like after that point, he became a person who talks a lot about the life experience, the lived experience, whether as a monologuist or he's mixing comedy in with monologue. I like that, because it, for me, I see a movement in who he is, and his perspective, and being able to talk about those things which I think would eat somebody up alive, if they didn't have a platform, or if they didn't express themselves. I think he gets it out, and I think that being able to get it out, in his art form, is what probably also helps keep some saneness to life.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, there's, like I said, there's got to be, like, there's nothing wrong with having some sort of balance, right? But there's got to be balance, especially even when it comes to stand up like that. There's got to be balance. Um, and what I mean is like it can't just be all punching down conversations. You see what I'm saying? It can't all just be one thing and just destroying a group of people. I think he went off on a lot of different people. I didn't really get I'll be honest, I didn't get the Space J one. I didn't get it. I was still trying to figure what the hell he was talking about with that one. The people I was watching it with, they're like, what? I was like, I don't know what he means by that. But yeah, he just went in on a bunch of people. Like I said, no one was safe in that stand up. He was making fun of everybody, pretty much. But he was also bringing some serious awareness to some things that I think that need to be brought up. Real talk. So I think when it comes to this, should the show be canceled? Should it be taken down? I don't know. I don't know. Because like I said, the story about Daphne, I feel like, opened up a lot of stuff and was very well done. Even the family of Daphne's family has stepped forward and said, he's an ally. He's for us. He's not against us. He's with us all the live long day, y'all.
But
Yep,
and
people are
here's
still taking this somewhere else. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. So for me, here's the frustrating thing. We've talked about cancel culture before, On the show. You've done it multiple times. And you've talked about commentators who have said some pretty heinous things from our perspective, but it's like, should they be canceled? And like, to me, I think no one has a uniform definition of how they personally define hate speech, right? What is hate speech to me might not be always hate speech to other people. And I think that it's important. I recognize it's important to understand the impact of one's words. When their intent and their impact are misaligned, it causes issues. But here's the deal. There is not one person on earth that I agree with 100% of the time, right? And oftentimes, even if I'm more aligned with the person 90% of the time, that 10% often is on the far other extreme of that individual, right? And so if I honed everything down to that 10% difference and only focused on that, I continue to be a very polarized individual. And so I say to myself that at the end of the day, we're not going to like everyone 100% of the time, or 10% of the time, or 90% of the time. And if we cancel people, it creates a problem because it only creates groupthink, right? It only creates this in-group, out-group. And guess what? Dave Chappelle talked about a point that, I think about years ago. There was two women, and one of them, they went to a fertility clinic or something, and they wanted to do the artificial insemination, and they ended up with a sperm that was of a Black individual, and she ended up having a biracial child and was very unhappy, but she was a lesbian, right? And that racism came out really quick. So when he posed that question, I started thinking about all those times where I have seen individuals in the LGBTQ community spout racism, and then not really understand what it is to be a person who's othered. And I think at the end of the day, we all have been othered in some kind of way. And because of that, is cancel culture healthy? I don't think it is, because it doesn't challenge. If we continue to cancel everything that makes us uncomfortable, then we're not living a life where we move forward, where we progress. Guess what? We need agitation. We need to be challenged. We need to be uncomfortable in order to grow. And I'm 37, and I've really started to learn that when I turned 30, like, this has been a hard lesson for me, but a good lesson for me, is that I have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because if I'm not, and I stay the same, I'm going to stay miserable, right? And I don't want to be miserable. I want to move forward. And that's why I really, even more at 37, I don't like cancel culture, because it doesn't push us to be better people. Do I want to be called the N-word? Absolutely not. To me, the N-word is a fighting word, right?
Facts.
But then the thing is, should I be saying the equivalent to a trans person? Should I be saying the equivalent to a Jewish person, or the equivalent to a Muslim, or the equivalent to a white person? Should I be doing that? Not necessarily. But if I'm offering commentary to get a person to think, to challenge you, like you said, to play devil's advocate, to get you to agitate enough, just enough, that bell curve, just enough to get to where you need to be to progress forward, then I think that we need to do that. I think that that's really important. And I wish people would really understand how important someone like Dave Chappelle is to growth. It might not be his job to be the professor, right?
Word.
But it's your job to take the little nuggets and lessons you get in life and do something with it.
You ain't wrong with that. And what you said is true. I mean, the only way we can get further on in life is to have those uncomfortable conversations, is to bring up those topics. The only way we can push forward and be more as humans, and to better the human experience for generations to come, is to have these kind of conversations, is to rap about these things, whether that is in stand-up or not in stand-up, or a monologue, just, one man shows, okay? One long ass monologue, storytelling, if you will. All right. And you're right. the only way we can progress is if we have to keep pushing the needle.
Right.
And those conversations sometimes are not going to be very easy.
Right. No.
And you're right. We have to have those conversations. But then it's like, okay, but that's the thing. It's like those conversations, those said conversations. Do we go and we do this with a stand-up comedian, or are we need to do this with somebody who might be coming at it with a softer grip? You see what I'm saying? With a softer approach. Like, for example, like I feel like there are other people out here, other storytellers, other personalities that are out here that could easily use their platform to speak on those uncomfortable pieces, but could also direct people right down the right road instead of it just being controversy. You see what I'm saying? Because like I said before, people, at least when it comes to seeing this stand-up show, they're not seeing the forest through the trees. They're seeing blunt force trauma of words, blunt force trauma of jokes, of him quote unquote punching down, but they're not seeing the full picture. They're not getting the message. So how can you have uncomfortable conversations with somebody if they're not seeing the forest through the trees? Everyone, like you said earlier, it's a lot of buzzwords. It's trigger words. Everyone's hella triggered as soon as they say one word, if they say another word, right? As soon as it goes into this certain rhetoric, right? It's like it's like the algorithm or the SEO or whatever. It's all these tag words. As soon as those tag words are dropped in the monologue or in whatever he's saying, suddenly everyone goes, everything's on fire. Everyone's super triggered. But why? Why isn't anybody trying to use their brain, think beyond what he's saying and going, oh, he meant that. That's what's up. Now, like I said, some people are not expecting, well, they should expect by the 5th damn stand-up special what they're walking into when they're watching a Dave Chappelle show. But I can see a lot of people walking into a show thinking that they're just going to laugh. It's going to be a lot of, fart, boob, dick jokes. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to laugh. Their sides are going to hurt. They're going to walk out the door, right? Happy that they spend that however much money they went to see that comedian, right? But I don't think a lot of people were coming in. I'm expecting to have this. I'm expecting to think. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people are coming in not expecting that. They're expecting it to just be a good time, laughs, chuckles, and keep it moving.
No, it's
at the right time. Like I said, you're walking into a Dave Chappelle show. You should already know what you're walking into.
And that's the thing.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then you walk in, and then people are like, "Oh my God, oh, clutch my pearls!"
Right?
How dare he do that? And it's like, bruh, did you know who this was?
Right?
Didn't you know? So why?
But
I
think that's the thing is, I think that people know. I think that a lot of people that are complaining, they go and they'll watch. They know what Dave Chappelle's about, or they'll know what an issue's about. They'll watch the person just to complain, right? Like they want to have something to say. But guess what? For example, I laid off watching the news for quite a while because it was becoming too violent, right? And when I laid off of doing those things, I noticed that my mood and overall body and ability to ground felt much better, right? And I think that if people find, because what we all believe is toxic is different for some folks, right? If you believe that something is toxic, if your pendulum hasn't shifted enough for you to sit in it and to think about it and to think critically about it, then when I say critically, move beyond just complaining, move into that point where you want to do a solution, then it's not going to be helpful. For example, I identify as a progressive who likes to think, right? Like whom is okay being challenged by someone who is on the far right.
Right.
But I know that there's only so much I can take on some days of listening to commentary on the right in order for me to learn and grow. So I take just enough and I pull back. I take just enough and I pull back. And I notice that my pendulum, my capacity to hold more grows. I think that people know, and I think that they engage just to complain. Guess what? I rarely go, if I'm going on to like Ben Shapiro and I'm watching something, or going to Candace Owens' channel, or going to Fox News or whomever, you often won't find me in the comment section having a fit, right? Why? Because I'm there to push myself to be better. I know that I'm going to get agitated. I know I'm going to be irritated and frustrated and maybe a bit angry when I go and sit there. But guess what? I've chosen to engage in this. So now I need to be ready to deal with the consequences of self to move myself forward. Period.
And you ain't wrong with that. I mean, here it is. Forward-thinking people are going to sit there and look at, like I said, they're going to see the forest through the trees, right? Any other person that's literally just trying to get some jokes, right? Get a quick chuckle, or just the opportunity to see someone like Chappelle live, right? It's one of the best to ever do it. Arguably one of the best to ever do it. If you're not going in there and you're just wanting to see a show, then you got what you wanted, right? But you can't be upset if it also sparks thought. But a lot of people don't want to think nowadays, right? Unless, aside from the wonderful souls that are watching this show right now, that are willing to have this conversation and expand their minds, whether they agree or don't agree with this conversation, they're at least listening to it. Just like what you said about Ben Shapiro or the CO or anybody else that has opposing views that I do not agree with at all whatsoever. Sometimes it is good to hear those things because, yes, it does expand. It does create expansion of your own thought, of your own mind. Makes you sharper because sometimes you get to hear those talking points and you know how to respond properly, so on and so forth. I think it's interesting that is still an audience out there, or there are still people out there that aren't going to automatically get triggered by buzzwords, that they're going to go, wait a second, let me listen to this really quick. Let me not stop the full show yet. Let me actually watch the rest. And then I can come up with my own conclusion, with my own perspective and thought. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what it is. I think it's very, very hard for a lot of people, especially artists like Chappelle. I think a lot of things get lost in translation because they're not looking at the message. They're just seeing the jokes, and they're going, I wanted to laugh, but now I'm laughing at the trans community. It's like, no, we're not. He's not laughing at the trans community. He's talking about something more than that. He's expanding the conversation. But I feel like people turned off the show before they even finished it, before he even got to the end part, right? And the end part is the best part. Best part of the whole best part of all 5 shows. I'm telling you, best part of all 5 shows. Rachel Walters, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Enjoying the convo. Yes, appreciate it. Yes, we are enjoying the convo as well. But first, I do want to show something because I am kind of excited about this thing. Before we move on and all that, I got something I want to share. Hopefully this works. Let's take a look.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Pascal. I got something very, very awesome and very exciting to share with you guys. In light of it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we have some new swag, y'all. Look at this. Beautiful.
Shoot. Dag nabbit. Hold on. See, this thing does not want to be my friend. Hold up. I'm excited about this, y'all. So I want to share this. And
what's up, everybody?
For some weird reason, it won't let me do it, man. I'm going to try another way because that's just annoying as hell. Like I said, Hold on. Let's try this. Okay. Boom.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Pascal. I got something very, very awesome and very exciting to share with you guys. In light of it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we have some new swag, y'all. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful pink hoodies with the Pascal Show logo on it. We got shirts and sweatshirts specifically for breast cancer awareness. Some of the proceeds will be going to breast cancer awareness. So please go hit that link down below. Buy these limited edition hoodies. Let's not forget. And I also will be signing each and every single shirt or sweatshirt that is actually bought. Hopefully you guys like wearing pink. I do. They do, obviously. Peace.
So, just so you guys know, we do have sweatshirts and t-shirts available at, let me put that in, the Pascal. Hold on, let me do this. Pascal Show merch.com. Did I type it in right? Yes, I did. We do have new merch. Like I said, specialty t-shirts, right? That are specifically in light of the Breast Cancer Awareness Month that we are in right now. It is October. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we do have t-shirts, sweatshirts available, pink, as you saw, specialty t-shirts just for this month. And this month only, there's a limited amount available. So please, if you can, go to www. Wow, that whole thing just shut off on us. Sorry about that, guys. This internet is weird today. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, this is all about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, got specialty t-shirts, pink with the pink logo and all that stuff. Please go to www.thepascalshowmerch.com. Pre-order yours today. There's a limited amount. There's only a certain amount of t-shirts and sweatshirts available. Like I said, some of the proceeds will be going to a breast cancer awareness foundation. So please, definitely, please buy. And I will be signing every single one, autographed by yours truly. All right. Every single last shirt or sweatshirt that is bought, I'll be signing it with my own John Hancock. Okay. So please go to the thepascalshowmerch.com. It is up. It is live. Please support and save the boobies. Okay. Save the boobies. All right. I do appreciate the conversation that we're having today, because I mean, I think it's something that we needed to have, this kind of conversation. We definitely needed to have this. When it comes to Dave Chappelle and this whole subject on Dave Chappelle, I do want to open up this conversation even more and have more conversations about the trans community, the trans community's reaction. What is their honest, real reaction to this particular special? Not only just me and Brian, right? Just not only just our take, but we should talk about this. This is a conversation that needs to be open, more of an open forum, right? So I'm in the middle of working on that right now as we speak, because like I said, I want to bring in those conversations. I want to bring in things that you guys can enjoy other than just Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. Okay, no disrespect to Gabby Petito, but at the same time, we got to keep expanding our minds, keep having uncomfortable conversations, and keep growing as humans, right? As Brianna has beautifully said earlier. So it is time to wrap up the show, guys. So I wanted to say a big thank you to Breon for being on. Thank you so much for being on, sweetheart. Appreciate it.
I'm always happy to be here. It's always nice to chop it up with you and the fam in the chat.
Never a dull moment. Like I said, she's always dropping the mic and walking off the damn stage, coming back on, picking it up, and then saying something and dropping it back down, like slamming it. Every single time she drops the mic, she's slamming it even harder on the stage. You feel me? We're like, we can't even touch it. It's been, so I'm saying, she demolished it. So I'm saying, can't even do that, y'all. But anyway, if you haven't done it yet, please hit that like button down below before you take off. I'd love to see the likes go past 500 likes. That would really mean a lot. So hit that like button down below. And of course, if you guys are watching this for the very first time, please crush that subscribe button, okay? Nuke it. Do whatever you need to do with it. Hit it so hard it cracks the screen, okay? Don't crack the screen. I don't want to get a bill in the mail, okay? All right, for your phone repairs, all right? That's on you. So definitely subscribe. Hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that join button too. Like I said, if you just want to help support this channel, this little channel that could, it would be greatly appreciated. We would love that. You know, we are marching our way to 50,000 subscribers, and it's going beautifully so far. I'm so excited. It's been an amazing journey to get to 50, and we're almost there. We're almost there. So keep hitting that subscribe button. Keep sharing this show. Let people know about this show. That would really mean a lot. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Oh, wait. Cause of death been released. A little bit. That's a very good question. I need to see if the autopsy for the Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner murder has been, if that's been released. So I need to look at that as well, because we've only gotten the account from Cindy Sue Hunter. So I'm gonna look into it for sure. Okay. So you'll hear it on here. But real quick reminder, I will be on at 1:30 p.m. to watch live what the coroner has to say. If he actually does it live, we will be watching it here. I'll be on a few minutes early before 1:30 so we can be here right at the top when it all starts popping off. So set your alarms, whatever you need to do. If it's lunchtime for you, we're going to have lunch together. Okay? So, and watch these results. And then I'm going to open up the phone lines and we're going to conspiracy theorize, whatever the words are. You know what I'm saying? Okay? So, I'll see you guys soon. See you at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, just so you know. All right? So do your math. Okay? Your time math, wherever you are watching this show right here. Anyway, time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I will see you guys very, very soon. This is the Pascal Show. See you at 1:30. Bye.